guys, I'm Leigh Scheps, and welcome to a special edition of Up with the Curtain, where on this show, the curtain goes sideways. We are at BroadwayCon for the third year in a row, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Sandra Joseph, and she is the longest-running Christine Daae in Phantom of the Opera. What an accomplishment.
Thank you. It's really an honor.
So today actually is Phantom's 30th anniversary, and you went to the party on Wednesday when they celebrated. What was that like, reuniting with everybody that was there?
Oh my gosh, it was overwhelming. It was so exciting to see all of my old friends and old castmates, and I was there with my husband, Ron Bomer. We met starring opposite each other as Phantom and Christine, so it was a very emotional, really overwhelmingly exciting night.
Tell me a little bit about meeting your husband, if you don't mind, and when that was, because you did the role for 10 years, so at what point, but that was on Broadway, and did you meet your husband maybe, because you did it on tour as well? So.
Yes, we met in 1997 at the Kennedy Center. We were rehearsing on the stage of the Kennedy Center on the national tour, and we actually only did the show together for 4 months, and that's when they moved me to Broadway. I made my Broadway debut in early '98. So it was a short little Phantom and Christine time, but thankfully it's been a really long Ron and Sandra time. We've been married for 15 years.
Oh my gosh, well congratulations to
you.
Married longer than the show. So what was it like when you got that call that you were transferring to Broadway? What did that mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I was completely blown away. I had no idea that call was coming, and we moved from the Kennedy Center to LA. We were at the Pantages in LA, and I was thinking about staying in Los Angeles because I loved California so much. And that's when they called and said, we want to bring you into the Broadway cast. So I then moved to New York and stayed there for many, many years. And just a couple years ago, my husband and I finally moved back to California. We're living in San Diego now.
Wow. So I want to ask you, some people might say, how do you do it for 10 years? What did you do each show, 8 shows a night for 10 years to get you going every single night doing the same thing?
It was a challenge for sure. It's a dream job. It was my dream come true to get to play this character. But then it does become a job as well, to show up and bring 1,000% night after night. So there were lots of little tricks that I used. I would give myself a word to focus on. My husband and I used to play with this, actually. I'd say, give me a word for tonight. He'd say urgency or listening, and then we would make that the focus for the entire night. Like, how sometimes you give yourself a word for the year?
Well, I don't.
Some people do. Like gratitude or whatever. So we would focus on that, and it really helped.
Tell me about being on the stage for 10 years, and there had to have been some sort of mishap where you were like, how did that happen?
Oh my gosh. So my favorite mishap was, the boat, the gondola ride at the Phantom and Christine. So before I was in the show, I always thought that there were tracks on the floor, but it's so cool how the boat runs. It's actually a remote control, like a little toy car. And there's literally a stagehand in the wings with a big joystick that moves the thing around. So one night we started the journey and we were way upstage, far, far away from where we were supposed to go, and the boat just stopped. And we kind of glanced over into the wings and we could see the stagehand like banging on the box, hit the joystick, and nothing's happening. So we're like, what do I do? And we're still singing, and the Phantom just stepped out of the boat, reached for my hand, and we walked on water.
What was this?
I think it was magical for the audience.
Did they notice that there was a mix-up?
I hope not. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. You have a book that just came out this week, and it talks about your 10 years and lessons that you learned from the book. Can you tell me one lesson that you learned from being in the show for 10 years playing Christine?
Sure.
You have the book too. You can hold it up.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Thank you. My book is called Unmasking What Matters. And really, the biggest life lesson is that the unmasking itself is what matters. I mean, to all of us, I think we can relate to the metaphor from the show that so often we feel like there's some part of us that we need to hide or cover up. And the message of the book really is to develop the courage to drop that mask and trust that who we are is enough. That was a challenge for me. I struggled with a lot of self-doubt and fear, stage fright, all of it. So I really am quite revealing in the book about what it took for me to take the stage. And even in life outside the stage, it's really for anyone who has a dream or wants to make more out of their life. How can we become more of an authentic, full expression of who we are?
Very nice. And so you have 10 lessons, right? In the
Yes.
book? Okay, so now it's time for the 11 o'clock number, and we're going to play the Broadway Rorschach game. So everyone who knows, I'm going to hold up some playbills.
Okay.
And you have to say the first thing or thought that comes to your mind when you see the playbill.
All right.
It could be anything that you think of. All right, so I don't
One word or?
No, whatever you want.
Okay, all right.
Thought, memory,
Okay,
anything.
cool.
All right, so what's the first one is? Crazy for you.
Crazy for you. Okay, actually, when I was in London with a friend of mine, his sister was in Crazy for You, and we stood on the West End looking at the picture outside the theater, and she was one of the dancers in the the pink and the whole thing, and he was pointing out which one she was, and I thought, what is it like to have your picture outside of a theater like that? What a dream that would be. And now my picture's been outside the Majestic Theater for 12, 20, I don't know, many years. So it's very surreal to see that. Makes me feel very grateful.
Oh my gosh, such a sweet story. All right, this is the big event of the evening.
In the Heights! I saw it before it moved to Broadway. I did a show years ago with Alex Lacamoire when he was a little puppy. He was playing the piano, and here he has gone on to do such incredible things. But I remember we made eye contact when I was in the audience and he was conducting in the pit. I was like, I'm so happy for you. And he introduced me to Lynn that night. So I met Lin-Manuel after the show, and I loved that show so much.
Oh, wow, and it's the 10th anniversary. All right, and the last one is...
Thou shalt not. I saw that with my best friend, and we had the best time. We were sitting about the 4th row and just like clinging to each other, like watching the show. This crazy wild dance scene, the tap number.
Some Stro number.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so funny. All right, thanks Sandra for being on the show. Tune in next time. See ya.